When you study the Gospel biographies trying to understand how Jesus stewarded his time, one glaring truth jumps off the pages. Jesus was crazy purposeful. In the words of the great Dorothy Sayers, "Under all his gentleness there's a purpose harder than steel." Nobody in Jerusalem had more things competing for their attention. And yet Jesus always seemed to be able to discern the essential from the noise. No passage of Scripture illustrates this better than Mark 1 verse 29 to 38. After driving out some evil spirits at the synagogue, Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law and a bunch of her neighbors. Understandably, the town's residents wanted more of Jesus the next day. But Jesus said no. Why? Because he had already committed his time to a bigger yes. In response to the people's request for more of his time, Jesus said, "Let us go somewhere else, to the nearby villages, so I can preach there also. That is why I have come." Mark 1 verse 38, emphasis mine. Jesus understood his purpose, and that allowed him to take the long list of things he could do and prioritize it down to the things he knew he should do to finish the work the Father gave him to do. John 17 verse 4. And with his work prioritized, Jesus focused relentlessly. Pastor Kevin DeYoung says that Jesus knew the difference between urgent and important. He understood that all the good things he could do were not necessarily the things he ought to do. If Jesus had to live with human limitations, we'd be foolish to think we don't. The people on this planet who end up doing nothing are those who never realized they couldn't do everything. Man, that's good. Yet again, Jesus' example leads us to a timeless principle for redeeming our time today. Here it is. Principle 4. Prioritize your yes. To redeem our time in the model of our Redeemer, we must decide what matters most and allow those choices to prioritize our commitments. But let's face it, this is easier said than done. We all have so many things on our to-do lists. How do we decide what matters most? One way is by setting bigger goals for our lives and work.